Howdy everybody, Steve here, KM9G. Let me show you what I was trying to talk about with the power output on the MFJ meter and the X6200 in a little bit better detail today. I wasn't getting my message across properly. It takes a minute for this radio to come up to full power. It takes a noticeably longer time compared to different radios. Even compared to different radios from Xiegu, it takes a noticeably longer time. Let's get over to the bench. What we have is the Icom 705 plugged into the MFJ meter, plugged into the Astron RS 35 amp power supply. 35 amps is way overkill for the 705. We're not going to underpower the 705. We're on 14251. We are plugged in, and I'm going to key down, if I can get the right side of the paddle, and we go straight to 9.88. The MFJ has this feature about it where when you let go of the key, it holds the last power reading for a couple of seconds so that you can actually read it. It's a thing that's supposed to help you. Now, watch this. When I key down, instantly it's going to read 9.88. Poof! And then it holds for a little bit when I let go. Instant, 9.85. Instant, 9.85. The Icom 705 instantly delivers its full rated power. Well, I mean, it's a 10 watt radio, supposedly. Let's double check the power setting. Poof. HF power, 100%. So we're within the tolerances of all this stuff. Starts at 9.85, it goes to 9.88. And then it holds steady at 9.88. Let's recable everything. I'm going to use the exact same power cable that I used on the 705, and we'll plug it into the 6200. Turn that on. Switch the power cable over. Switch the antenna cable over, which is going to our dummy load. Let's get this into CW mode, and let's get our frequency to 14251, just to remove one more point of argument. All right, we've got the key plugged in. Power level is set to 8 watts. Let's put it on the big display for you. Power level 8 watts. We have the key type set to manual. So let's key down. And you can see how it takes a while for it to climb. We're not talking 1/100th of a watt here. We're talking it's got to go all the way up. And it's starting to steady out now. But we're still rising in power here. And then we let go. And if I give it a couple of seconds, that's going to go back to 0 like it did for the 705. Let's key down again, and you can see that it's taken a while to come up. Now remember, on the 705, it went 9.85. 9.85. This one, not doing that. Let's let it die down a bit. 6, 7, and climbing. And there we hit 8 watts. And just so we don't feel left out, I'm actually going to cable out the 6200. I'm going to put the 6100 in. Let's see how little brother does. Turn off our antenna tuner. It's actually on for the other radio. You can see it right there lit up. ATU, we'll turn it off. Not that the antenna tuner is going to make that much of a difference, but we'll do it again. There we go, poof. We're at 10 watts in. Wait for that to clear. 9.5, and then it gets a little bit better. But it didn't start at like 6 and wrap its way up to 9. It started at 9, and it's going its way up. And it's fairly steady at the 9.5 to 9.8 range. Just for grins, now we're back and we have the tuner turned off, so it's a fair test. Look at that, it started off at like 2 watts. Oh, we're back on 5 watts because we disconnected. Let's change our transmit power up to 8. Okay, there we go, 5 watts, and then it starts to climb up. So the time that it takes to get from where it starts to where it is rated to be isn't bad, and then it just keeps climbing above where it's rated to be. We're at 9.19, 9.2 watts out, 9.3 watts out, and then something in there clamps it down. But we went up to 9.3 watts out on an 8 watt radio. And just to make sure that we are all on the same page, this is the production model, not the prototype model, but the prototype did it also. So hopefully that explains in better detail. A couple of you have been talking about, is this meter a peak meter or an averaging meter? I don't know whether this is a peak or an average meter. What I do know is that I'm looking for consistent results between readings so that I can prove that my test is valid, and that's what really matters. I'm not really using this to see power out while I'm talking. I'm not really worried about that. What I'm using this for is to notice that when I do something, I have a control, and then I make a change, and then I test it again, and I can see that there is a change on the meter. That's what I'm looking for. I think everything's working as designed. I just wanted to point out that the 6200 is a little slower to come up to power. Hope that makes more sense than it did in the last video, which is right over here. Thanks for being awesome. I'll be over there waiting for you.